The shocking truth behind Drew's shooting, Edward Quartermain's unexpected return. The quiet halls of General Hospital have been buzzing with whispers and speculation ever since Drew Cain was found lying in a pool of blood, 2 gunshot wounds marking his back. What started as another tragic crime in Port Charles has evolved into one of the most shocking mysteries the town has ever witnessed, with a revelation that no one saw coming. Edward Quartermain, long believed dead, may very well be alive and responsible for the attack that has left Drew fighting for his life. The investigation began with what seemed like straightforward police work. Anna Devane and Detective Chase initially focused their attention on the usual suspects, those with clear motives and opportunity. Michael Corinthos quickly rose to the top of their list, his volatile relationship with his uncle Drew providing ample reason for suspicion. The custody battle over Wiley and Amelia had created deep rifts in the family, and Michael's presence near Drew's house on the night of the shooting only added fuel to the investigative fire. But it was Willow Tate who captured the attention of many as a potential suspect. Her world had crumbled in spectacular fashion, losing custody of her children, her failed wedding to Drew after discovering his affair with her mother Nina, and her increasing desperation to reclaim her life. Living at Elizabeth's house had given her access and opportunity, while her unstable emotional state provided a compelling motive. The missing gun found at Elizabeth's residence seemed to point directly to Willow as the most likely culprit, the missing weapon that started it all. The breakthrough in the case came when ballistics revealed that the weapon used to shoot Drew was none other than Edward Quartermain's antique gun. This revelation sent shockwaves through the Port Charles Police Department and the Quartermain family alike. Edward's gun, a family heirloom that had been stored in the mansion for years, had mysteriously vanished around the time of Drew's shooting. Anna Devane found herself facing a puzzle that seemed to have too many pieces. The gun's disappearance from the Quartermain mansion suggested that someone with intimate knowledge of the family's secrets and access to their home had orchestrated the attack. Tracy Quartermain, Michael, and even Willow all had potential access to the weapon, each carrying their own reasons for wanting Drew out of the picture. The discovery of the gun at Elizabeth's house seemed to seal Willow's fate as the prime suspect. After all, she had been living there since her wedding disaster, had clear motive, and her alibi for the night of the shooting remained questionable at best. Her emotional breakdown upon hearing about Drew's condition could easily be interpreted as guilt rather than genuine concern. Michael's calculated moves. While investigators pursued Willow as their primary suspect, Michael Corinthos was playing a different game entirely. His recent behavior had been erratic and calculating, leading many to believe he was either covering up his own guilt or setting someone else up to take the fall. His unexpected visit to Elizabeth's house, where he surprisingly offered to let Willow see their children, raised eyebrows among those who knew him best. The timing of Michael's generous gesture seemed suspicious. After months of bitter custody battles and legal maneuvering, his sudden change of heart appeared too convenient to be genuine. Some speculated that Michael was using this olive branch as a distraction, possibly to plant evidence that would further implicate Willow in Drew's shooting. His knowledge of the Quartermain mansion's security system and his ability to move through the house undetected made him a formidable suspect in his own right. Tracy Quartermain's cryptic comments about keeping Michael's secrets only added to the mystery surrounding his true involvement in the night's events. Her protective instincts toward family members had always been fierce, but her willingness to provide alibis and cover stories suggested that she knew more about the shooting than she was letting on. The revelation no one expected, but as the investigation continued to focus on the living suspects, a stunning truth began to emerge from the shadows of the Quartermain legacy. Edward Quartermain, the family patriarch who had been mourned and buried years ago, was not as dead as everyone believed. The discovery would shake the very foundations of everything the residents of Port Charles thought they knew about the powerful family and their dark secrets. Edward's survival had been a carefully orchestrated deception, one that required the complicity of very few people and the assumption that no one would look too closely at a man everyone believed to be 6 feet under. His reasons for maintaining this elaborate charade were complex, rooted in family protection business interests, and a deep-seated need to control his legacy from the shadows. The revelation of Edward's survival cast the entire investigation in a new light. His intimate knowledge of the family's weapons, his ability to move through the mansion undetected, and his motivation to protect the Quartermain name from Drew's destructive behavior all pointed to a suspect that no one had considered. Edward had watched from the shadows as Drew's political ambitions and blackmail schemes threatened to tear apart everything the Quartermain family had built over generations. Drew's recent actions had crossed too many lines for Edward to ignore. The congressman's use of his position to target family members, his attempts to destroy the family crypt, and his manipulation of those closest to him had painted him as a threat that needed to be eliminated. Edward's decision to take matters into his own hands represented a final act of patriarchal protection, even if it meant revealing his continued existence to a world that believed him dead. The web of deception unravels. As Anna Devane and her team continued their investigation, the pieces of this elaborate puzzle began to fit together in ways that no one had anticipated. Edward's death years earlier now appeared to be an elaborate staging, complete with funeral arrangements and legal documentation that had fooled even his closest family members. The revelation would not only solve Drew's shooting, but would also raise questions about other mysterious events that had occurred during Edward's supposed death. The discovery of Edward's continued existence would have far-reaching implications for the Quartermain family dynamics. Tracy's protective behavior suddenly made more sense. She had been covering not just for Michael or other family members, but potentially for her father's return from the dead. The family's financial arrangements, legal standings, and even their emotional healing processes would all need to be re-examined in light of this shocking revelation. Michael and Willow's roles in the drama would also shift dramatically once Edward's involvement became clear. Instead of being prime suspects in an attempted murder, they would find themselves as unknowing pawns in a much larger game of family protection and legacy preservation. Their custody battle, their personal conflicts, and their individual struggles would pale in comparison to the magnitude of Edward's deception and its consequences. The residents of Port Charles would be forced to grapple with the reality that someone they had mourned, honored, and moved on from had been watching their every move for years. Edward's ability to orchestrate events from the shadows while maintaining his facade of death would raise questions about what other secrets the town's most powerful families might be hiding. The aftermath and new beginnings. Drew's recovery would take on new meaning once the truth about his shooter was revealed. Instead of being the victim of family vengeance or romantic betrayal, he would understand that his actions had awakened a force that everyone believed was long dormant. Edward's willingness to emerge from hiding to stop Drew's destructive behavior would serve as a wake-up call about the true power dynamics within the Quartermain family. The revelation would also provide opportunities for healing and reconciliation among family members who had been torn apart by suspicion and accusations. Michael and Willow's relationship, while still complicated by their custody issues and personal conflicts, would no longer be overshadowed by questions about attempted murder. Their focus could return to what truly mattered, the welfare of their children and their own paths toward personal growth. As Port Charles processed this stunning turn of events, the community would be reminded that in a town built on secrets and hidden agendas, nothing is ever quite what it seems. Edward Quartermain's return from the dead would become the stuff of local legend, a story that would be retold for generations as an example of how far a patriarch will go to protect his family's honor and legacy. The shooting of Drew Cain, initially seen as another tragic crime in a town all too familiar with violence, had instead become the catalyst for one of the most shocking family revelations in General Hospital history. Edward Quartermain's emergence from the shadows would forever change how the residents of Port Charles viewed death, family loyalty, and the lengths to which people will go to protect those they love. Next, we will dive deep into the explosive twists and heart-pounding drama unfolding in Port Charles over the next 3 weeks, from October 6th to 24th. As fans eagerly await the latest revelations, this period promises a whirlwind of family betrayals, romantic entanglements, and life-altering secrets that could reshape alliances forever. The storyline kicks off with a tense cabin escape that spirals into unexpected danger, while Jason Morgan delivers a game-changing revelation to Britt Westburn that leaves her reeling. Meanwhile, Jocelyn Jacks grapples with an irresistible pull toward temptation, testing her resolve in ways she never imagined. Week of October 6th to 10th. Wills, investigations, and shocking tests. The drama ignites right away with Tracy Quartermain erupting in fury during the solemn reading of Monica Quartermain's will, a document that stunningly bequeaths the iconic Quartermain mansion to the enigmatic Veronica Ronnie Bard, a distant relative whose sudden prominence stuns the family. Tracy, known for her sharp tongue and unyielding loyalty to the Q legacy, views this as a personal affront, unleashing a tirade that echoes through the grand halls and reignites old sibling rivalries, including heated exchanges with Ned and Dylan over perceived favoritism. Adding layers to the Quartermain turmoil, Drew Cain discovers he has been entirely omitted from Monica's estate, a blow that fuels his simmering bitterness toward the clan he once called family, pushing him further into a meticulously planned revenge scheme involving shadowy business maneuvers and leaked family secrets. Drew's exclusion isn't just financial. It's emotional, harking back to his brainwashing ordeals and lost years, making his plot feel like a cathartic reckoning that could dismantle the Quartermain empire from within. Shifting gears to the high-stakes world of law enforcement, Anna Devane and Harrison Chase dive headfirst into probing the mysterious gun linked to Drew's recent shooting. Armed with a freshly issued search warrant that uncovers hidden compartments in a suspect's vehicle, what starts as a straightforward ballistic analysis quickly devolves into a labyrinth of deceptions, with fabricated evidence trails and anonymous tips leading them on a wild chase through Port Charles' underbelly, including a midnight raid on an abandoned warehouse. The investigation takes an electrifying turn when Elizabeth Baldwin emerges as a key person of interest, her nursing shifts at the hospital intersecting suspiciously with the timeline of the shooting, prompting whispers of involvement in a cover-up tied to her complicated history with Franco and the Casadines. As Anna coordinates with Dana Falconeri, pulling intel on Drew's case while simultaneously unraveling the tangled web around Judge Eva Heron's disappearance, a fragile alibi begins to shatter under scrutiny, hinting at a larger conspiracy that implicates trusted allies and forces ethical dilemmas on the detectives. This convergence of cases not only heightens the suspense, but also explores themes of loyalty and redemption, as characters confront how far they'd go to protect their own. In a deeply personal twist, Portia Robinson stares in disbelief at the results of an unforeseen pregnancy test, a positive outcome that appends her carefully balanced life and ignites frantic questions about paternity amid her recent entanglements. Portia's world, already strained by her medical career and family duties at the hospital, now faces the uncertainty of whether this child belongs to her steady partner Isaiah or the charismatic Curtis Ashford, with whom she shared an impulsive night that blurred professional boundaries. This revelation prompts introspective moments where Portia weighs the implications on her daughter Trina's future and her own path to forgiveness after past deceptions, adding emotional depth to her arc as she navigates doctor-patient confidentiality breaches in her own life. Elsewhere, Nathan West drops a bombshell declaration that sends Britt Westburn into a tailspin, potentially revolving around the pressing matter of custody for their young son James West, whose safety has become a flashpoint in Britt's ongoing battles with her Huntington's disease. Britt's reaction is visceral, marked by tears and accusations that dredge up memories of Nathan's heroic sacrifice, forcing her to confront whether entrusting James to extended family is the right move or if it risks exposing him to the dangers lurking in Port Charles. This confrontation underscores Britt's vulnerability, blending maternal instincts with her resilient fighter spirit, and sets the stage for ripple effects on the West family dynamics. Jocelyn Jacks, fresh from a secretive escapade, returns home weaving a tapestry of elaborate lies to shield her actions, only to cross paths with the suave Jack Brennan, who might drop hints about her eagerly anticipated assignment at Port Charles University. Jocelyn's deception, born from a night of youthful rebellion involving late-night parties and questionable company, weighs heavily on her conscience, especially as it intersects with her stable life alongside Dex. The real peril emerges when Vaughn, a charming yet enigmatic figure from her social circle, exerts a magnetic temptation that challenges Jocelyn's moral compass, drawing her into flirtatious banter and risky propositions that blur the lines between friendship and forbidden romance. This allure isn't superficial. It taps into Jocelyn's desire for independence, echoing her mother's own history of impulsive choices, and could lead to irreversible consequences if she succumbs during late-night study sessions at PCU. On a lighter yet steamy note, Assistant District Attorney Justine Turner finds herself ensnared in Sonny Corinto's magnetic orbit, struggling against his effortless charisma as he proposes a light-hearted diversion from her grueling caseload. Sonny's approach is classic charming dinners at his waterfront penthouse laced with inside jokes about legal loopholes, testing Justine's professional ethics and stirring dormant passions that remind her of past flings in the cutthroat world of prosecution. Their chemistry simmers with witty repartee, but Justine's internal conflict highlights the dangers of mixing mob ties with the justice system, potentially compromising her career if distractions turn into deeper involvement. Weeks of October 13th to 17th. Temptations deepen and confessions ignite. As the mid-October weeks unfold, Jocelyn's entanglement with Vaughn intensifies, evolving from subtle glances to bold invitations that pull her deeper into a web of excitement and secrecy, threatening to expose her lies to those closest to her. Vaughn's influence, rooted in his adventurous spirit and shared academic interests, presents Jocelyn with a crossroads: cling to her predictable routine or embrace the thrill that mirrors the Jacks family legacy of drama. This prolonged temptation not only strains her relationships, but also invites speculative twists, like Vaughn harboring his own hidden agenda tied to the ongoing investigations in town. Romance blooms vibrantly when Giovanni Palmieri musters the courage to bare his soul to Emma Scorpio Drake, confessing feelings that have simmered since their first collaboration on a community project. Gio's admission, delivered under the starry skies near the Scorpio Drake home, is raw and heartfelt, detailing how Emma's intelligence and kindness have captivated him amid the chaos of Port Charles' life. In a reciprocal moment that fans will adore, Emma opens up about her mutual affection, her words laced with vulnerability from past heartbreaks involving teen crushes and family expectations, leading to a passionate kiss that seals their budding connection. Though their path to intimacy feels inevitable, the duo opts for caution, discussing boundaries and futures in heartfelt conversations that explore maturity and consent, ensuring their bond strengthens before any major leaps like sharing a bed. This slow-burn romance adds a refreshing layer of hope, contrasting the show's darker plots and drawing parallels to classic GH pairings like Lucky and Elizabeth. In the shadows of captivity, Rick Lansing's subconscious torment manifests in vivid dreams featuring Elizabeth Baldwin, visions that blend desire with desperation as he rattles chains in his undisclosed prison. These nocturnal episodes reveal Rick's lingering obsession, replaying moments from their turbulent history of legal battles and stolen kisses, heightening his isolation and prompting desperate pleas for rescue. Elizabeth's growing suspicions, fueled by anonymous clues and her intuitive nursing instincts, position her as a potential savior. But intervening could drag her back into the Lansing family's cycle of deceit, forcing her to balance her commitment to Hamilton and her unresolved feelings for Rick. The dreams serve as a psychological thriller element, hinting at Rick's possible escape plans that intertwine with the broader Drew shooting narrative. Week of October 20th to 24th, getaways, anxieties, and revelations. The final week crescendos with Portia and Isaiah plotting a much-needed escape to his secluded cabin, a rustic retreat in the woods where Isaiah envisions rekindling their spark through cozy firesides and nature walks, now that renovations from a recent storm have restored its charm. Isaiah's persuasion is gentle yet insistent, painting pictures of uninterrupted time away from hospital shifts and family pressures. But Portia's mind races with the weight of her pregnancy secret, During this intimate getaway, she might finally disclose the news, leading to tearful discussions about building a family and the uncertainties of fatherhood, especially if doubts linger about Curtis's role given their recent encounter at a high society gala. The cabin setting amplifies the stakes, with isolation forcing raw honesty and potential conflicts if Isaiah senses her hesitation. Exploring themes of trust in modern relationships, Curtis Ashford, meanwhile, channels his energy into fortifying his romance with Jordan Ashford, sharing vulnerable moments over jazz records and late-night talks that deepen their post-divorce bond. Yet, Curtis's anxiety mounts over repercussions from Drew's shooting, where his peripheral knowledge of the event gnaws at him, compounded by fears for Trina's safety if her budding involvement with Kai Taylor veers into criminal territory. Discovering Trina's flirtation with Kai, a street-smart artist with shady connections, Curtis grapples with protective instincts, staging interventions that highlight his evolution from gambler to grounded family man. This subplot weaves in redemption arcs, as Curtis confronts how his past choices echo in the present, potentially leading to confessions that test Jordan's faith in him. Capping the fortnight, Jason Morgan ambushes Britt with a profound surprise. Perhaps a tender kiss under the harbor lights or a thoughtful gift symbolizing his unwavering support amid her health struggles. Jason's gesture, drawn from his code of loyalty forged in countless missions, aims to pierce Britt's defenses, but it could backfire if it prompts her to unburden the truth about Nathan's fate or a concealed family heirloom tied to the West. Alternatively, the surprise might veer unwelcome, like evidence of Britt's hidden alliances, compelling a confrontation that exposes vulnerabilities and reignites their complicated chemistry from the Casa Dini era. Jason's curveball not only propels Britt's storyline, but also intersects with the custody drama, hinting at broader implications for Port Charles' interconnected web of secrets. These upcoming episodes blend classic soap intrigue with fresh emotional layers, keeping viewers hooked on every betrayal and embrace. Stay tuned for more breakdowns as the drama escalates.